The Fourth and Goal Podcast.
That's all it is. But there's a lot of airspace to cover for Milroe. Still looking. Firing. Near corner. It's caught! Touchdown, Alabama!
Strebler dials it up. End zone! Touchdown!
They're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles! Touchdown!
There ain't no podcast like the Fourth and Goal Podcast. Like, hit that subscribe button and share.
You heard it here. Ain't no podcast like the Fourth and Goal Podcast. Sadly, we do not have Justin Pollington, or JP as you guys know him, on the show today. Currently at court trying to pay child support payments to my mother. And
that back pay is going to go crazy.
Yeah. I know, dude. I'm going to be able to buy a whole podcasting setup with the amount of money I'm going to get from him. No, Justin couldn't make the show tonight, guys. But it's still me and Andrew. We got a lot of football to talk about. Got a lot of stuff to banter on. We'll probably go a little bit too deep into Michigan State since Justin can't hold us back.
We have no railroads tonight. Welcome to the Fourth and Goal Michigan State Podcast.
Yeah, we don't have the Michigan homer, which we'll talk about Michigan as well. And I would love to get Justin's thoughts on that game. But I wanted to start with the biggest game of the night. Former President Trump was there along with a ton of other high-profile celebrities and a ton of crazy fans from both fan bases. Georgia versus Alabama in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Alabama gets the win 41-34. Andrew, kind of talk to me about your thoughts through this game while watching and then going back and looking at it, looking at the box score. Just kind of your analysis on this game.
So, this game was the game of the week. I've had this game circled for 2 weeks now? Since
it's been the biggest game this year for sure.
Yeah, it's been on everyone's calendar, and it did not disappoint. Milroe had he had his Heisman moment. I want to say he had a fantastic.
It's too early to have a Heisman moment.
No, it's never too early. You were going crazy about Boise. He had his Heisman moment.
Well, yeah, but Ashton Jeanties should win it.
He won't.
But we'll get into that.
We'll get into that, but he won't.
Into that later.
But yeah, I think Milroe. I think he had his Heisman moment. When you go for all-purpose yards of almost 500 yards, it's kind of hard not to just go, okay, here's your bronze award, especially against Georgia and who that we've seen. They've just been a sleeping giant. They've kind of just been there, sitting there, and we were waiting for this game to see if they would come to call. And honestly, I was kind of disappointed in Georgia. I was expecting them to be able to contain the high-powered DeBoer Alabama offense because it looked like classic DeBoer at Washington, honestly. We haven't seen a ton of it all year. And I was watching and I'm like, wait, that's not Michael Penix back there. He just ran for 100 yards. No, it can't be.
Right.
But it was just, I never felt like this game was out of reach for Georgia. But at the same, it was weird because I thought Georgia was 1 or 2 plays away, but then Alabama would just match and match and match and match, and it was just a constant. Alabama just one step ahead of Georgia. I felt the entire game.
Yeah, Georgia almost able to come back there, tied it up 34-34. Alabama's secondary, I know they ended up getting the game-winning pick, but it's a major concern right there, man. Xavier Brown able to come up with the pick at the end of the game, though, was extremely clutch for them. He's a freshman guy, and Alabama's going to look like a different team than it did this past week. But you have the best athlete on the field in Jalen Milroe, and that was the clear difference maker, the X factor in this game, along with Ryan Williams, who I said this preseason, I thought he was going to be crazy coming out of high school. The kid could start at Alabama, one, because their receiver room wasn't really good with depth-wise. You get Jeremy Bernard to transfer in, but, there are a lot of guys left. Corey Brooks left in the portal. You had Jermaine Burton go to the draft. There was some holes to fill on this Alabama receiving room. But and give credit to Jalen Milroe because I didn't think he was going to be that good coming into this year, being quite honest with you. I thought he's been overrated by the media just because he's the Alabama quarterback and Alabama's been successful. But no, he actually looked like the best player on this team. And while I'm not going to give all the credit to Kalen DeBoer, having him as the offensive guy, as the guy to go to for this Alabama offense, I mean, it just looks completely different. And he looks like a pro first-round quarterback that could be successful at the next level, which I wouldn't have said a year ago. It kind of reminds me of the Jane Daniels progression in a way. Like Jane Daniels, like, yeah, he was all right. His first year at LSU wasn't great. It wasn't amazing, but he got it done. And then just that second year was just phenomenal. And Alabama, I won't say they're the favorite to win it right now. I'd still put my money on Texas and maybe Ohio State, but Alabama is right up there for sure.
I think with the DeBoer, or not with the DeBoer, but on the topic of DeBoer, I think Milroe kind of fits. I mean, this might be a bit of a stretch, but I think he kind of fits what he wanted Michael Penix to be. Because if you remember when he was in Indiana, Penix was a runner, kind of like how Milroe is with the massive arm.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, Penix was an incredible athlete before his knees got shot. I think the biggest stat to take away is Milroe had a big problem of taking sacks last year. If you remember in that Michigan game and games all of last year, took 0 sacks in this game. I think that was the clear difference in Alabama winning this game. One more time, got to shout out Ryan Williams, dude. That kid's a freak. He might not be the best freshman receiver in the country, but he's top 2.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we'll get to something later and you'll see who the number 1 is, but
yeah, if you don't already know.
Yeah, he just caught another one-handed grab. I don't know if you knew that. Just now. He's still
want to move into another SEC game that actually caught my attention. Ole Miss getting upset in Oxford by the big bad Kentucky Wildcats. Did not expect this at all.
No.
This Kentucky defense is legit, man, and they were without Hairston as well at corner. And there's still, I mean, there's NFL talent on this Kentucky defense, but man, does Ole Miss just did not look like a great team. Trey Harris is the only really bit of offense Ole Miss was able to get going in that game, but man, Kentucky shut down the Ole Miss offense.
I think this was I know you guys like to flame me for my Lane Kiffin on the hot seat take, but this was a classic Lane Kiffin dropping a random game he shouldn't lose midseason. Like he does this every year.
I would. Yeah, no, he does do this every year. Just a game where they clearly should win. They've been hot this whole entire start. Then they play a team with a defensive pulse that's able to get pressure and play pass coverage, and they looked mediocre. I don't think they were expecting Kentucky to punch them in the mouth. Like Kentucky, yes, did they compete with Georgia? Yeah. But I mean,
stopping Georgia's offense is a way easier task, in my opinion, than stopping Ole Miss's offense, though.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far. I think there's more talent in the receiving. Well, maybe not, because I actually was very impressed from Georgia's receivers. I mean, Dylan Bell, Colby Young, Arian Smith. I know Arian Smith had that crucial drop, but still.
I mean, outside of Trey Harris, not a single Ole Miss receiver at 50 yards.
Right, and Prescorn had that one. Yeah, Prescorn had that one explosive play, and then wasn't able to get anything going. Yeah, I mean, Dane Key and Barry and Brown on the outside. If Vandergriff has the time to get it to him, those kids are both really athletic, and I think both of them could be pro guys as well. Maybe not day 1 or even day 2, but they'll have an NFL contract somewhere or be on a practice squad next year.
100%.
And both of them looked impressive. This game was a classic defensive battle in the SEC. I mean, both teams able to get 4+ sacks, 17 total combined TFLs. This was a defensive masterclass. I'd say more by Kentucky. I think Ole Miss just couldn't get anything going.
It was 100% just Ole Miss not being able to do anything on offense that they wanted to, and they were able to kind of make them not one-dimensional, but just stop everything that has allowed them to score 55, 60, whatever points they've put up. And I think it kind of has gone back to what was the game? I don't remember the exact game they played, but I bet on it and I was pissed about it. When they were just breaking over after over, and people have kind of figured them out this year, where they're not allowing. It's been the last 2-3 weeks they've not been allowed to just run past everyone and score at will like they had the first couple of weeks. Granted, competition's gone up, but you wouldn't expect to see this big of a drop off from the beginning of the season to now.
Yeah. Moving into the Big Ten side of things, I got my first upset pick of the week loss. Okay.
Welcome.
It was to a team that was 18-point dogs, and I thought they competed pretty well. But Penn State ends up winning at home 21-7 over Illinois. Just the ground game from Penn State, man. It's a different animal. Illinois wasn't really able to get anything going offensively. They found some receivers in space, but between the pressure from Penn State, just being able to put Illinois at losses the whole entire game. I mean, if you get 10 plus TFLs and 7 sacks in a game, first of all, your defense is legit. Like, I don't care who you're playing. Like, they got to have some sort of pulse. But I mean, to get 7 sacks, Abdul Carter is a freak. That kid's going to be a first round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just
creating these first round picks.
It's crazy to watch. Drew Aller didn't necessarily play well, played mediocre, which is kind of the expectations from him in College Station. But I don't know, man. I just thought Illinois might have been able to get something going in the passing game, but they were just not able to whatsoever.
No, I didn't hate we just saw them have a good game against a good Nebraska defense. But I guess Penn State kind of had their coming out. They're like, oh, our defense is elite compared to everything else that you have seen so far. And Bielema had no.
Yeah.
I mean,
they'll get challenged from the USC Trojans here in a couple of weeks. But
that will be your challenge.
We'll see.
I didn't watching the game that they went for 34 rushing yards.
Yeah, I mean, being held to 1.1 yards per carry is just, it's not going to do you any justice.
Altmaier did not
in winning football games.
Damn. Yeah, it's Illinois.
Did you watch the Louisville versus Notre Dame game?
Well, I was checking on it. I didn't watch a ton of it. I know that's your team, so let's. It did cost me though. I didn't take Louisville to
cover. You kind of cut out. What did you say? I heard you say you were checking in on it, but you didn't watch it.
I was watching a little bit. I was checking in on it periodically, but I know that's your team, so I'll let you take over for them. That's your favorite team.
I watched this game a little bit live. Wasn't able to catch too much. Was also calling a hockey game at the time, but I did go back and watch this game pretty in-depthly. I mean, Louisville just made too many crucial mistakes when it mattered. Shuck ended up throwing a pick that shouldn't have been thrown. They had 2 fumbles lost in this game as well. I mean, the turnovers, which has been a problem for this team. We saw it versus Georgia Tech as well. They've been very sloppy. Colin Lacey was able to come back and be kind of effective. But, I mean, the running game was okay. Isaac Brown's been solid, and Chaney as well in the backfield. And Shuck's able to get out too. But, I mean, Notre Dame, they just were able to win the field position battle, hit some explosive plays and big-time plays when they needed to. They're able to run the ball on third down and pick up first downs with Love and Price. And, I mean, this Notre Dame defense is legit, man. They were able to force Shuck, who I think is actually going to be an NFL quarterback the way he's been playing, as long as he can continue to stay healthy. And we saw those glimpses at Texas Tech early last season when they played Oregon. I mean, he took Oregon down to the wire. But, I mean, Tyler Shucks looked good, man. I don't think this is a bad loss and doesn't count as a conference loss for Louisville. But I'm excited to see, and we'll probably talk about this game tomorrow, how they play versus SMU. because SMU's starting to get hot. Now they're sticking with Jennings at quarterback. But I was also impressed with Riley Leonard. He was able to show some arm. Jaden Greathouse was able to get open for some plays, and I thought he looked better than he has at any time this year. Obviously, he looked amazing in the Purdue game, but any team's going to look amazing against Purdue that has a pulse. So
yeah, Purdue's kind of. Yeah. I thought it was just Riley Leonard he looked comfortable in the pocket for the first time. Probably, I mean, Purdue, he looked like he was playing backyard football, but
I won't say that, but yeah, I mean, it sucks to see him lose, but if there was a game for them to lose, it'd probably be this one. As long as you can beat Miami and Clemson. Now, are you going to beat Miami? Maybe we'll get into that.
They look mortal.
You could beat Clemson. Yeah, Louisville can get pressure, and we just found out that Cam Ward is not good throwing under pressure. He made some mistakes in this game, ended up throwing 2 picks, and Miami got tested, which was not what I expected from this game, considering how slow Virginia Tech started the season, taking a loss to Vanderbilt, and then kind of like playing okay versus Marshall and Old Dominion, and then lost a close one to Rutgers, which Rutgers is actually a pretty good football team. But man, they took this Miami team to the wire, and Kyron Drones didn't look too bad either.
No, they gave Miami everything they could handle. Just, I mean, it's kind of hard to have a bad day in the office when you're able to distribute the ball like Ward can, but when he had just people in his face. Not basically all game, but there was someone running at him, at least bearing down most of the game. And that, like you said, it showed us the blueprint to beat Miami. And I think if there probably won't happen as often anymore. They're probably just going to tell Ward, hey, you got legs, use them. A little more than he did after. I mean, he only had, where's Ward on here? He did 57 yards scrambling and running around. But I think if they want to continue to beat upper level opponents, and I honestly don't think very highly of Vatek, if they want to take on even Clemson or Louisville, they need Ward to be able to overcome that.
Yeah. They do play the Calgorithm this week. And their I love Cal, dude. Their whole social media presence in the landscape of college football is just taking over my mind and soul. No, Cal's a good defensive team, man. I think they're gonna be able to give Cam Ward. If they're probably gonna take and see what Virginia Tech did and kind of implement it into their own system. And man, that defense could catch them. And just like Virginia Tech, I mean, Jaden Ott's a very good running back, and Fernando Mendoza has been a solid quarterback so far this year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in that game on Saturday. We'll break that down tomorrow for you. I'm pretty sure College Game Day is going there too. So I believe so.
That'd be a good matchup.
Yeah. What else is there? This was a really good week, but I feel like there's so much to talk about. I don't want to go to one specific area.
Yeah, it was kind of like good games all over, but just neutral about a lot of it.
Did you see Arizona versus Utah at all?
I did not. I didn't catch that one.
Yeah, I was.
Holy crap! I didn't see that box score.
Yeah. Isaac Wilson looked like Zach Wilson's younger brother, to say the least, in that game. I mean, he's not a bad quarterback by any means. He's kind of like Childs. He's just a young quarterback that's still trying to figure it out, that likes to throw too many deep balls and make too many crazy plays and doesn't know how to hone it in. Mm-hmm. Arizona was just able to keep control defensively and come up with turnovers when they needed to. I mean, they were able to run the ball really well as a team. I mean, two guys had 70 yards and they averaged 6.5 yards per carry. Yeah, man. I don't know what to make Arizona, because they started out the season really flat. obviously score 61 against New Mexico, then you struggle versus Northern Arizona, and then you'll lose at Kansas State. Now you beat Utah. Like the Big 12 is probably going to be the most fun to cover till about the first week of the college football playoff, and then we won't see the Big 12 anymore. But I mean, this league's crazy, man. There's a lot of solid football teams, which I know the direction I want to go in after we're done talking about Arizona. But there's so many good teams that could compete for a Big 12 title. Like you got Arizona, you got Kansas State, you got Utah, you got Texas Tech, you got BYU. Like those are just 5 teams I'm naming off the top of my head, and I'm not even looking at conference standings or anything. Like this is a good football conference, a fun and solid football conference. I'll say that.
It is. I think you nailed it. I think once we get to the national conversation, they kind of fade away because they're built. The conference is built. I'd say probably half the conference is in that 20 to 40 range.
Right. Yeah. And that's not putting in, I mean, but yeah. And I mean, on a neutral field or even if you get home field, I mean, you never know what can happen, man. You really never know. It's one game.
That's true. And a lot of them do have pretty, I don't want to say dominant home field advantages. I know Utah does. Georgia, Oklahoma State a little bit, but
yeah. Well, Oklahoma State's terrible.
Yeah, and it's just a shame because they have what I thought was going to be the best player in the country, and
right, he looked mighty average. You want to get it? Did you watch that Kansas State Oklahoma State game?
A little bit. I was checking it once in a while.
Yeah, I watched this a decent amount. DJ Giddens and Avery Johnson might be one of the best backfields in the country in terms of just explosiveness and being able to just make plays. Johnson looked pretty good in this game. He was able to throw it around a little bit, but I mean, just the running, both Giddens and Johnson averaging 12 yards per carry. Giddens, I know I see why Trayshawn Ward transferred out now, because this kid, he's nice, man.
Yes. It's hard to if you looked at Oklahoma's stat line from this game, you'd be like, wow, Oklahoma State had a pretty good game, like almost 500 yards all purpose, just able to do what Oklahoma State does. Then you go and look at Kansas State's stat line, and it's like, oh, shit, okay.
Yeah.
Johnson kind of did whatever he wanted, man amongst boys the entire game.
Yeah, it also doesn't help that Alan Bowman's the quarterback at Oklahoma State.
Hey, I think Michigan fans they'd be clamoring for some Alan Bowman in Ann Arbor right now.
You know what? Yeah, probably. Well, maybe.
They had him.
Yeah, they did. And also had Cade McNamara too. Very good Iowa quarterback. Oh my gosh. I don't want to put too much on the direction I did want to go actually after that Big 12 game, which I guess I hinted at the wrong game, but I still hinted at the Big 12. I wanted to talk about Colorado, dude.
Okay, I was hoping we got to this game because this was
going to the bounce house and just dominating.
I before this game kicked off, my dad came over and we were watching games as I was fading in and out of consciousness from my concussion protocol.
Right.
But I looked at him and I'm like, Colorado doesn't stand a chance. They don't have the water, they don't have the horses to hold up against UCF. And then I woke up there in the middle of the second quarter. I was like, wow, UCF's dominating. Shit, Colorado score. I don't know a single person that expected Colorado to actually show up in this game. Like maybe the first quarter, but I was just expecting.
I thought they could cover. I did think they could cover in this game because the line was at 14. I'm like, is UCF really that much better? But I thought UCF was going to dominate on the ground this game, rush for like 400 yards. Mm-hmm. Colorado wasn't going to have a chance, but that was just not the case. And for Colorado to be out and ahead, obviously, kind of puts UCF at a deficit because, I mean, we've seen KJ Jefferson pass the last couple of years, and it hasn't been very good. But, yeah, man, I mean, they just weren't able to get anything going. And you know what? Colorado, I don't know if they're a Big 12 contender, but They do have 2 tough games playing Kansas State and Arizona next week. But then you got Cincinnati and got Kansas and Oklahoma State on the schedule. I mean, you could see Colorado in the postseason this year, which is
A little 8-9 win season.
I don't know about 8 or 9. That's stretching. I think they could win 7. I
don't
think
know.
that's this team's. I don't think also the success they had in that game is sustainable. To be quite, I don't think their defense is going to play like that. Again, I could be very wrong, and you guys could just call me the biggest Colorado hater, even though Justin thinks I have a mighty man crush on Deion Sanders, which I don't.
Hey, now that Justin's not here, we can talk about good things that Colorado's doing.
Right? Yeah, no.
Colorado hater, but this they looked. I don't know. If they can get half of the defensive production they got against UCF, especially on the ground, they'll be pretty good this year. I think 8 wins might be in reach for them. I have respect for Orgeron and what he does, and his ground game has been good everywhere he's gone.
Did you say Orgeron?
Not Ed Orgeron as UCF.
No, it's Gus Malzahn. Gus Malzahn.
Wrong son, dude. Wrong big
right.
guy. My fault. Yeah. Still, Mel. Yeah. You know what? I've told you guys. Names are hard for me. Okay.
Well, especially with your,
Yeah, my brain.
Getting. Yeah, you know what? You guys can't really blame them.
I'm gonna ride this for the rest of the season. I hope you know that.
Yeah. All right. Can we talk about Boise State, Washington State?
Take it away.
Yeah. Ashton Jeanty to win the Heisman, guys. This is all you're gonna hear from me until he has a bad game. Just a phenomenal football player, a phenomenal athlete, just a phenomenal guy all around. No, I mean, dude, he's averaging 10 yards per carry with 13 touchdowns in 4 games and 845 yards. He is averaging over 200 yards a game. Name me a running back that's done that recently. I'll wait.
Nope.
That's what I thought. And it's not like he's played like when they play. I mean, Washington State's like a fringe, like top 25. Like I could see them at the end of the year. Mateer's a good quarterback. They played okay, but weren't able to just stop the almighty Gene T. But like, dude, Boise State was within 3 points of Oregon, and in that game, he was very impactful with 3 touchdowns, 192 yards. And you want to know the crazy thing? He didn't score a touchdown in one game either versus Portland State. He didn't even score a touchdown against them. And he still has 13 touchdowns on the season. Just saying. Like, this kid's an animal. I know you're going to put Jalen Milroe or what's his face? Or Travis Hunter. These national guys. But, dude, if you actually watch college football and you're a Heisman voter, man, if Ashton Jeanty keeps this up, he's going to win the Heisman.
Hey, just don't let him get injured for one game and let them get blasted by a good team. We know how that works for running backs.
Yes, we do. If you don't know who he's referencing, shout out Kenneth Walker, who performed amazing for my fantasy team this week. I mean, the probably toughest game on this schedule for Boise State now. I mean, Washington State's a tough opponent. Oregon was a tough opponent. You still got UNLV, which shout out Haj Malik Williams, dude. They dominated Fresno State. UNLV versus Michigan. College football playoff. Justin would be scared.
Rebels are rolling.
I mean, there's no. I mean, Oregon State's got an okay defense. Nevada could show them something different, but I mean, it's looking like Gene T might have a lot of success here in the Mountain West Conference.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Well, they're now a Pac-7 school. But
oh, yeah, that's right. Shout out Gonzaga, by the way, joining. Oh, did you see UTEP join the Mountain West, too?
Yes.
Yeah,
which I thought this whole time they were already in the Mountain West. I'm going to be completely honest.
They're a what? CUSA team, right?
I didn't. They show up on the schedule so few. So not often in the Midwest. I'm like, I don't know what the
Hey,
hell.
shout
this
out
team
Aaron.
is.
Shout out Aaron Jones. But
Yeah,
no.
except actually, shout out Aaron Jones. I told you guys he'd be better than Josh Jacobs. God damn it, my fantasy team.
All right, we'll get into that whole debacle in just a minute. Just I wanted to throw out a couple other games. Hawkins looked good in their performance for Oklahoma against Auburn. He played solid. Peyton Thorne actually didn't look that bad, but still had a lot of mistakes in that game.
Still Peyton Thorne.
Oklahoma's also got a really good defense, man. And Auburn.
Between
I
the
know
two could do what they wanted to do.
They got to win some games if they really want to buy in on this 2025 season next year. I mean, you needed to get wins against Arkansas and Cal, dude, and you don't. You got Georgia and Missouri back to back, and then Kentucky. That's a pretty solid football team. Vanderbilt's Vanderbilt, man.
Honestly, that Mizzou game for Auburn, I watched a little bit of them, and I have a friend who's a huge Tiger fan, and I poke fun at him for the Peyton Thorne experience, but it's your pain. But Missouri doesn't really scare me if I'm an Auburn fan. Like they have the most yards per play in the country. I'm pretty sure so far this year. They've just had a massive. Right. And Thorne, for the most part, if he can play like he did over the weekend, I think Missouri is going to be. They might be on upset alert.
Yeah. USC performed well against Wisconsin. We're down at the half. They're able to come back in the second half, which seems to be kind of a trend. Score 28 straight points, and they were able to handle business at home. I just wanted to touch on that. Don't really have too much of a big breakdown in that game. And then the final game before we move on to the NFL side of things, as you can hear my enthusiasm in my voice. I actually probably got you to believe that I actually like the NFL. Michigan versus Minnesota. Man.
Stolen.
His face mask or his helmet was offsides, but
it doesn't matter. The rule is whole body.
Yeah.
The Big Ten came out on Monday and said, we're going to reevaluate the way our referees call onside kicks.
Right.
Michigan got bailed out.
I still think Michigan's the better football team here. Minnesota almost makes a comeback. They scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. Yeah, dude. Shout out Daniel Jackson for that catch, man. That was incredible. You'll know what I talk about. And if Justin, you want to edit this clip, which if you don't know, by the way, we'll point it out to you. I'm the one that kind of creates like graphics and whatnot to put out on social media. Andrew runs our social media everywhere. He does a really good job at it. And then Justin, he's the one that does all the editing and puts all the stuff together for Andrew to put out there. So Justin, if you're editing this, show that Daniel Jackson clip. But yeah, man, Michigan.
Let me make a note just in case.
Yep. But yeah, great effort by Minnesota. Close, but no cigar. That's all I have to say. But I mean, Michigan, they're so good defensively. I hate saying it, but dude, they literally have the best D-line in the country, and they'll continue to win games because of their defensive line. Now, if we look at the Michigan schedule, you play Washington this week, should win. Play Illinois. That game could get dicey. You play Michigan State, you'll probably win, especially because it's at home. But anyways, and then Oregon, Indiana, I think you'll probably lose to Oregon. You'll maybe be, I don't know. Indiana's a weird team. Northwestern, and then Ohio State. I still think Michigan has a chance at making the college football playoff, even if they go 9-3. If they can show some fight in those Oregon and Ohio State games, it's going to be tough. It also depends on the other teams that are just on the fringe of being in and out, the bubble teams, which I can't believe we're using that term in college football. But yeah. I don't think they, I don't know, man. It's tough, but they're a weird team. I do think Orgy, like he made a couple throws in that game. I know he had some bad ones too, but he made a couple throws where I'm like, if he could put it together somehow, and that's obviously, you could say that about a lot of quarterbacks that, haven't put it together.
In the state of Michigan.
Yeah, in the state of Michigan. Well, yeah. Oh, we'll touch on that Ohio State game really quickly. But yeah, I mean, he has some throws where I'm just like, dude, if this guy could just even like be like 20% better, like Michigan. I also think it's a receiver problem for Michigan too. I'm not going to put all the blame on Orgy. They do not have the talent on the outside. Colston Loveland's your best receiver, which he's a first round guy for sure. But I mean, other than that, there's not that even no one close of the dudes they had on their team last year for Orgy to throw the ball to.
I mean, yeah, Bell, Ronnie Bell's younger brother. He's not half of Ronnie Bell. I'm just gonna.
So, I mean, Samaj is like a good. Yeah, Samaj is a good gadget guy, but like he's not a wide receiver run like they're trying to treat him.
Right, and then are we out on Donovan Edwards? Right.
Yeah, I think
we're off the.
Oh, did you see the updated ratings on EA College Football 25?
Yes.
He only went down 1 point, and it's like, dude,
it's because he's a cover athlete.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. DJ only went down by 1 point too, which I thought was interesting. Some players got
no.
No, I didn't honestly.
They got
an 80.
They went from like an 2 to like an 80.
Yeah, I mean, they probably should be even lower, but I'll have to go through. I'll have to go through it after and see what all the team ratings are. Final game in college football. This is actually gonna be the final one. He'll like, I got one more thing, or I got one more thing. We're gonna move on to the NFL after this. Ohio State, they come away with the win in East Lansing, 38-7. Michigan State competed in that first half, man. And if we had a competent offensive line, running the ball wise, I think we could have competed. We just didn't. We made mistakes. I'm saying we like I'm on the team.
I
the coaching staff.
I catch myself doing that too. It's okay.
Two fumbles. I mean, we showed glimpses, and that's kind of what I wanted to see. Like, I knew Michigan State was going to win this game. Like, I said that coming in. I'm like, dude, Michigan State has really no chance of coming away with an upset against Ohio State. But they showed that they can be competitive. Childs played a pretty solid first half. He was like 11 for 15 on like almost 10 yards per. And we fell short, but I'm okay with it because we're not going to win anything this year, man. Like if we make a bowl, cool. I don't know if they will with how their schedule aligns because we play Oregon and then Iowa and then Michigan, then Indiana, then Illinois. And then we have Purdue, which will be a win, and then Rutgers, which – oh man, Rutgers might be on that college football, knocking on the college football playoffs door.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. Yeah, it's this guy. I would like to give a quick little shout out to Rakeem Johnson, though. He's a true freshman. Started at left tackle this week for MSU, and honestly, outside of Tanner Miller, the best offensive lineman on the field for Michigan State.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of saying something. The kid's been on campus for 4 months, which sad state of affairs, but also, God, injuries hurt Michigan State every year. Sorry, I had to bleep myself. But,
yeah, but every team deals with injuries, though. Like, it's not just Michigan.
No,
like every team or Michigan State.
It's not the same group every year.
Yeah.
It's always defensive backs and the offensive line every year.
Yeah. All right. I know I was kind of joking when I said that Rutgers might flirt with the college football playoff, and they've played kind of close with Virginia Tech and Washington, but at Nebraska, Wisconsin, UCLA, USC, Minnesota, Maryland, Illinois, Michigan State, dude, like they could go 10-2.
Do we want to give our stupid could flirt teams? Because I think you guys know who mine is.
Yeah, let's do one from each conference. The Power Four, anyways, and then we'll give our could flirt group of 5 team. Like, obviously, don't say like Boise State or like UNLV. Those teams are contenders right now. But yeah,
so,
in the
you got Rutgers.
Yeah.
right?
Oh, let me before I say that, let me look. Oh, I know who your team is. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. They got one more loss on the schedule.
Who? Indiana?
Yeah, one more loss.
Who? Who? Ohio State?
Yeah, it's only because they're at Ohio State.
I mean,
Michigan's rolling into town, and they don't stand a chance.
they could lose to Nebraska.
The Fighting
Washington's not a bad.
Signettis are gonna roll.
It's crazy to think that Indiana football is like actually pretty good. I thought the Michael Penix era was like the only thing that we'll get.
Well, this is just the James Madison 2.0 era at this point.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I mean, I'd either say Rutgers or call me crazy. Iowa, like,
Yeah.
because I mean, even if they drop this one to Ohio State, dude, they could win the rest of their schedule, and
They
it'd
can
only be
do
one Big
just
Ten
enough.
loss.
Yeah.
At Washington, Michigan State, Northwestern, Wisconsin, UCLA, Maryland, Nebraska. Like,
Didn't they lose to Iowa State though?
Iowa State's probably a Big 12 contender, man. Like,
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
that's
there's
still.
there's
I guess you
I,
lost and make the playoff now.
yeah, I mean, losing to the Big 12 conference champion, potential Big 10 conference champion, like, and they only lost to Iowa State by a point. Like,
So just feed them in at 12.
yeah, no, I mean, well, you'd probably feed them in at 11 because you put the Group of 5 team there, but
Oh, you're right. See, when Indiana makes the playoffs, they're going to be at 8. It's my final.
for the Big 12 conference,
Indiana. Can we think about that for a second? A top 10 Indiana.
that I don't want to see it. Okay, I guess there's really no one crazy in the Big 12, but if I had to put a team, it'd probably be Texas Tech. They're 4-1 right now, only lost to Washington State, and they play Iowa State and they play Arizona, but there's a chance that they could do something. Burhan Morton, their quarterback's been pretty good so far this year, and they got Taj Brooks at running back. I mean, it's a deadly quarterback running back combo right there, and if they could just somewhat keep it together defensively, you never know. Texas Tech does crazy things, and
They do.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Mine's going to be Colorado.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, not what I was expecting.
They have the second best player in college, in my opinion. Second.
Who's the first?
Ashton Genty podcast. But
yeah, that's true. Ashton Genty.
Push. I'll get some TikToks flowing on Genty going forward here. But
I might just come out and just say Genty for Heisman every day on the 4th Goal TikTok.
Do it.
Yeah, might have to.
And do like a day one of the movement. Day 2 of
yeah.
the movement.
Yeah, no, we're gonna start an Ashton Genty movement for Heisman. It's gonna take over the world, take over the Heisman world. He's gonna be the first unanimous Heisman winner.
Heisman vote. We need a 4th and goal Heisman vote.
We got a little bit of time to work for that, but maybe in a couple of years for sure.
That'd be so.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I'd probably just vote the best Michigan State player every year.
Dude,
no, I'm just kidding.
Having a Heisman vote and actually watching the games on like half of the voters.
Right? Yeah. No. In the ACC, I mean,
you can say Louisville. I give you permission.
Okay. I was if not, I was actually gonna say if Syracuse could win against UNLV and go 10-2 the rest of the way, dude. I don't know. I think it's too tough. They don't have a running game. Yeah, I'm gonna say Louisville. I still think they got a chance, man. They have dudes on their team. They would have to get some big wins against Clemson and Miami, but
yeah, I think I'm gonna go SMU.
Okay.
They've got one more ranked game on their schedule, and then all the rest of the the bigger games in the ACC. They host BC. They host Cal. They hosted Florida State and absolutely housed them. But The
Right.
only loss I see on the rest of their schedule is probably at Louisville. So I could see a 10-2 SMU team squeaking in there, probably the same way that we saw that we're thinking most of these teams are going to get in around 9, 10,
Right.
11.
Yep. And then in the SEC to finish it off, I don't know, every team in the SEC that's already going to make it. Yep.
Save Andy. Do the thing.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Save Andy.
Yeah, no, their schedule's way too hard for them to even have a chance. This is tough. If I'm gonna have to say a team, they got a favorable schedule down the line. They could win a big matchup at home this weekend. I'm gonna go Texas A&M. I don't know who they're gonna play at quarterback. Marcel Reed and Connor Wegman seem to be going in this back and forth. I want to say it's gonna be Marcel Reed, but I think Wegman still's got a chance of leading this offense and being a composed passer. I know he looked terrible in week 1, but man, nobody looks the same in week 1 as they do at the end of the year. No. And Wegman's got to prove to draft scout or scouts that he's still a draftable player. Yeah, I'm gonna go Texas A&M, man. I think they're a good team.
This is a hard. SEC's tough.
Yeah, because there's just so many like top ranked teams, and I wanted to
right.
I wanted to go the South Carolina route, but they no, that's not.
I want to go Arkansas, but I can't because they play everyone the rest of the way.
Arkansas is a terrible coach football team.
Exactly. Maybe Oklahoma. Maybe. I see them losing probably another 2 games, and they're not going to let a 4-loss team in. Or a 3-loss. No. A 3-loss team could. 3-loss team, Oklahoma. 3-loss Oklahoma.
Nah,
if they lose one of Ole Miss, Alabama, Missouri, God, nope, they play too many. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was just
I'm just gonna go Texas A&M. Texas A&M, I'm surprised.
Yeah,
is just the safe pick.
It's A&M. Yeah, unless you want to say like LSU, technically they're out of the playoff right now.
Yeah, I think LSU is also.
I don't have trust in Brian Kelly to finish the job though.
Yeah,
you're throwing your players.
No, Justin.
Week 2, it's kind of tough.
Yeah. All right. Let's move in quickly to the NFL side of things, and then we'll talk about the AP Top 25 at the end of the show. Go a little back and forth. First things first, got to talk about the myth, the man, the myth, the legend, Jared Goff. Throwing a perfect 18 of 18, catching a touchdown pass, and the Lions get a big win over Seattle, something they haven't been able to do the past couple of years.
What, 12 meetings or something? Or an 8 meetings in a row?
Yeah. It hasn't been pretty versus Seahawks. Able to get it done at home, man. I'm so proud to be from Detroit. Tigers, they move on to the ALDS, dude. I've not been able to say I've been proud to be from Detroit, and that'll end in the winter probably because the Pistons are going to be like 2-80 at the end of the season. So, but
I have hope.
I don't. Yeah.
I don't have a lot of hope, but it's there.
Yeah. I mean, the story of this game, man. The Lions just played really efficiently, and when you play efficient football, and Seattle's defense just isn't able to stop you, I mean, you're gonna win football games, and it's really the end all be all of this game.
Yeah, I think I didn't see a way the Lions lost this game going into it. Just the amount of injuries that Seattle had, not having a single defensive line starter against even no Ragnow, which I thought the left guard that came in and played, I can't remember his name right now. The left guard that came in to play for Glasgow when he moved to center, I thought he had an actual good game. But I mean, I did piss off a bunch of Seattle fans on TikTok on my personal account. I did a little bit of shit talk. I had like 30 replies. I just made the post and went to bed, and then people were pissed. It was just,
it happens.
Oh yeah, we got to stir the pot. Seattle they couldn't hold their water against. I think it's official. It's the best offensive line in football. you lose your all-pro center, and it looks like nothing happened. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like the direction this team's going. Hutch for DP of the year. It's kind of going down the drain a little bit after that game, but who knows?
It's okay. Still an early football season.
Oh, it is.
And
the way through.
And sticking in the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings are 4-0.
Yes.
This is weird. I thought Minnesota was going to be the worst team in the division this year, and all 4 teams are pretty competitive. The Bears picked up a win this weekend as well, but man, dude, I mean, Minnesota's just bad, bro. They're not like bad, like they're a bad team. Like they're like,
they're like, you don't want to beat them in the dark alley.
Yeah, no, you don't want to beat them in the dark alley. You don't want to meet them stopped at a red light at like midnight. Like
you don't want to meet them on a football field. Damn it.
Yeah, no. Now they almost did allow Green Bay to come back in this game, but they're able to finish business and come away with the win. Shout out another Michigan State player, Jaden Reed, though, for the Packers, had a pretty big game. Gotta always give a shout out to our Spartans in the NFL. But yeah, man, I think Jordan Love came back a little bit too early. You could have rolled with Malik Willis, and Love just, he threw 3 picks. It was just a very up and down game. But shout out Minnesota, man. I'm very impressed.
I want to just take a little second. This is a story time, but not really a story time, about Minnesota. So I was telling the guys this weekend, my second cousin happens to be a coach for the Niners. He played in the NFL for a while, played at Michigan. I'm not going to name drop because I don't want to. Maybe one day, because I feel like that'd be kind of weird to just name drop this person. But I will say he last year, I didn't know Darnold spent time in the Niners last year. Did you?
Yes, I did know that because he came from Carolina.
Yes.
And ended up becoming he was
their backup.
Yep.
I just forgot that he was there. But apparently my cousin who's over there at the Niners was the person who brought him in, helped him out a little bit, put him in the study room, and basically was also the reason they did not re-sign him to another deal and said, you're a starting quarterback, go get your money. And now he's in Minnesota, beat the Niners, did all the things. That was just a crazy story because I was like, damn, so you guys knew this was coming from last year? And they were like, yeah, we did. We knew how good he was. Just it took some time for the rest of the league to find it out. And it's kind of just resurrection program from the Jets. All right.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Very good.
You know who I'm talking about, but
I know who you're talking about, and he might be a guest that we have in the off season.
One day, yeah, that'd be dope. I've reached out to him. We'll see.
Discussing a certain team. Other than that,
I think Justin would geek out and lose his mind if that happened, though.
Yeah, Justin would geek out and lose his mind if I don't know. I think Justin would sell his soul to meet Jim Harbaugh.
That's probably true.
Just kidding. Yeah, the NFL. The Colts pick up a win against the Steelers with Joe Flacco coming off the couch. I guess that's cool.
I thought that was home. The Jets. We got to talk about the Jets.
Oh, yeah, they did lose to the Broncos.
Aaron Rodgers put a shitter down on have you heard the whole drama going on between Salah and Rodgers?
No, I have not. Honestly, this is more you and Justin's thing. I'm not the NFL guy here. You guys know me as the college football nerd. But yeah, talk to me about this Aaron Rodgers, Robert Saleh stuff.
Okay, so Rodgers, we know at this point, he's kind of just an old salty man. Not an old salty man, but he's getting up there. He's kind of set in his ways. There's a reason they didn't want him back in Green Bay. He's kind of a cancer in the locker room. We saw it right when he got to New York. He said, "Go get all my players from Green Bay." They brought over Lazard. They brought over a bunch of guys, and he just had such. We've seen they've played 4 games, and we've seen Rodgers play well in one of them. And it's and Saleh's a defensive head coach. He wants to play through his defense, and Rodgers is not about that. He is about me, not about the team. And there's just been a lot of tweeting / little comments and post games going back and forth between the two of them. That's gonna boil over.
Gosh. I know you're talking about Aaron Rodgers. I'm just looking at this box score. Bo Nix, dude, what a stat line! Holy cannoli! Wow. I'm so glad I didn't watch the NFL this weekend. You guys know me. I'm the biggest Bo Nix hater probably on the internet.
But that's what makes it so much worse. They lost to that.
Yeah, no, that is terrible.
They didn't throw it down. Granted, the Broncos are probably a top 5 defense in the league, but so did the Jets. Theoretically, like what the hell?
Jeez, wow, that is terrible. Absolutely awful.
What other things? Jacksonville's the worst team in the league. I'm putting my flag.
Yes.
The
Browns suck.
We need to talk about Jaden Daniels, and I need to toot my own horn. I know I tooted it last week. I'm just gonna pat myself on the back again for that call. Jaden Daniels is now officially in the top 10 for the MVP race. I don't know if you saw
that. It's not gonna win it, but
he's not gonna win it. But the fact that he's there, he's gonna win offensive.
Yeah, no, I mean, I honestly, I didn't know how he's going to be in the NFL just because I don't like when you have a crazy trajectory from your junior to senior year in college football. We've seen it with Zach Wilson. We've seen it with a bunch of prospects, not even just at quarterback, but at any position. It's kind of like, I didn't think Hutchinson was going to be that good coming into the NFL just because, he was only good for one season. But you know what? Jaden Daniels, he's on my fantasy team. I drafted him in my dynasty league just because I'm like, yeah, this guy could run. Running quarterbacks are just OP, so I thought I'd draft him. But no, dude, he's actually been really good. He's been a really good player. He's
got the highest completion percentage out of any rookie through 4 games ever.
Yeah.
In fact,
just
people thought he was going to run. He's throwing the ball. He's throwing the shit out of the ball.
And Cliff Kingsbury, man, this is the type of quarterback. Like, this is like what you wanted out of Manziel and when you were at College Station and wanted out of Murray. Like, Jaden Daniels is just that player for him.
This was the revenge game, too, for Cliff.
Yeah.
Run out of Arizona.
Yeah.
And back up and just he's nuts on him.
Right. Yeah, I don't really have like I said, I didn't really catch much NFL football. I had a busy day on Sunday, and I watched the Lions. I always watch the Lions. We have to talk about we have to talk about Buffalo, Baltimore.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the last game I want to touch on before we can move on. Except also say that the Dolphins without Tua don't even watch them.
Yeah, they need help badly. Is it too early to draft Shador? Yeah, probably. Plus, Dion might not even allow him to go there.
2.0, but right-handed.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, dude, Derrick Henry looking vintage.
God, that was fun to watch. You could see. So I listen. We're from Detroit. You guys know that. I listen to 97.1 probably more than the other two guys.
Justin listens to him pretty heavily. I like to look at things more from the national perspective, and I'm more of a podcast listener rather than a local sports radio guy, which is not a bad thing. I'm not trying to dog anyone that does. I'm just like, I like things covered from the national perspective. But anyways, continue.
That's understandable. But they like to talk about when you're trying to tackle a man like Derrick Henry. They call it a business decision. I don't know if that's a term everywhere else. I don't hear it a lot, but I hear it from especially the afternoon show, Valeni and Rico really like to talk about business decisions when sometimes hitting players. And you could see in this game, a lot of the Bills, they would just run with Derek, but then you could tell, like, in their head, they're like, I'm not tackling this guy.
Yeah, right.
He's going to hurt me. They remembered when he stiff-armed someone into the ground. Like,
yeah.
I was just watching that game, and I'm thinking, they're running with him, so that in the film room, they can say, oh, I just didn't get the angle, coach. It's okay. No, they just didn't want to try and hit Derek. And ran for 200 yards. It's crazy.
All right. Out of the NFL slate of things, we're going to go drift back to college football a little bit. And if you've made it this far on our end, make sure you like, subscribe, and you know what? Share it with you.
Hit the button.
I mean, if you're tuned in for an hour, dude, you got to like us a little bit. Or if you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify, make sure you hit the follow button and continue to tap into every episode, and also share it with whoever you think would be interested in listening to us banter about college and NFL football and other sports as we go along into the different seasons. Let's do we want to do Heisman or talk about the AP top 25?
Yeah, let's do our Heisman. We can do top 25.
Heisman. All right. So and I'll read off Justin's list too. So Justin, let me pull this. Andrew, give your top 5 first. I'll pull up Justin's list.
I'll give you guys a little. You guys know we do our top 12 4th and goal podcast, our 4th and goal poll.
Which we did not get to this week, but we'll do it. Yeah, it'll be there the following weeks.
Yeah. But we did a little 4th and goal top 5 Heisman, 2 early Heisman choices. Each of us did our top 5 versus the 4th and goal poll is all of our opinions combined. But yeah, so I said earlier, I think Travis Hunter is the second best player in the country, except he plays on a bigger team. He plays for Coach Prime. So number 1, I got Travis Hunter. I just think he will be the definitive number 1 pick in the draft. He's probably the best overall player that I've seen in my lifetime. 21 years, not a ton of time, but he's if you look at his whole skill set wise, I mean, there's a lot of great
players. No, I mean,
but number 2, I got Jalen Milroe. I said he had his Heisman moment this week, evident of him being number 2 on my list. Then we got Ashton Genty, probably the best player in the country this year, just at his position, the best player in the country. Definitely the Doak Walker Award winner. I think he's already locked it up. But the Heisman, only problem, he's so low. I guess I have Travis Hunter at 1, but it seemed to be a quarterback award for the last several years, which is why Genty is so low for me.
Yeah, I mean, the last non-quarterback to win it was what, Devonta Smith, and I mean that wasn't really
long ago, but he played at Alabama and didn't they win the Natty that year?
Yeah, and I mean Mac Jones would have won it until people realized, like, nah, it ain't Mac Jones. Why? It isn't because of Mac Jones, it's because of Devonta Smith. So
exactly. 4, I got Cam Ward. He kind of got exposed this weekend, but his whole body of work this year has been just too elite for me not to have him on my top 5. And then at 5, he's a little bit. He's not on the top 10.
I'd say this is a little premature.
But I'm just staking my claim now, just in case, because I like to do that. I got Jeremiah Smith. I know I mentioned earlier he just caught another one-handed grab, but he's
been the best freshman in the country by like a mile.
100%.
Maybe not by a mile, but like him and Ryan Williams
are both a mile ahead.
Yeah.
And then Smith might be like a quarter mile ahead of Ryan. Like it's not.
I'd say like 10th or like a fit, like not a fit. Well, like
he's
0.05.
He's a quarter mile, not a quarter mile. Sorry, he's a 200 meter. He's just around.
Yeah.
But I love the way this kid plays. He's got crazy athleticism.
I mean, like I said earlier in the year, if he could play in the NFL right now, he would be.
Him and Ryan Williams would both be there.
Yeah.
They got to hit the gym a little bit. Dude, by the time they're juniors.
Yeah, Smith does not, bro. Smith's he looks like a 25-year-old out there.
I just think, what is he playing at 190?
Bro, most of these NFL receivers that are good aren't like above.
I just think, imagine him 2 years from now with 2 years of Ohio State weight training.
Yeah, that's true.
Not like DK, because DK is just a freak in nature, but he could look. He might be the next coming one of the greats. I don't think Ryan Williams really has to bulk up too much more, man. I think with how slippery and elusive he is in open space, like obviously, yes, you want him to put on more muscle and maybe lose some body fat, but like in terms of physique, like he's not going to change much. Right. I don't think Williams has got to change. Smith is just, if he's going to be that downfield threat, a couple more pounds of muscle wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt. Well, maybe too many pounds would hurt, but
I'm not 20. I'm saying like 5'10".
Yeah, I get that. And that'll just come over the time of him being in Ohio State, like you said. For Justin's top 5, I'm going to trash one of them because I don't think he should be on this list anymore. Jalen Milroe at 1, completely fine with. Travis Hunter at 2. Yup. Cam Ward at 3. Yup. Jackson Dart at 4, Justin.
You know how close I was to putting him in mine?
No, he played awful.
I know.
No. I'd rather have Dylan. I think Dylan Gabriel's looked better this season than Jackson Dart.
I had blanked that game out of my brain, and then I went back and looked at the box scores and went, "Oh yeah, he's gone."
Well,
Jeremiah Smith thrown in there.
Yeah. And then Gene T at 5 for Justin.
Low on Gene
my
T.
list
has got to be higher.
Yeah, my list. If you can't tell, number 1, Ashton Gene T, best player in terms of productivity so far this season.
Mm-hmm.
He's if Boise State did not have Ashton Gene T, they would not even be in the remote conversation of competing for a college football playoff spot, nonetheless competing for a Mountain West Conference champion spot, nonetheless might not even make a bowl game. Like,
I mean, Gene T is for Boise what K9 was at MSU, except better.
Yeah. I mean,
he's also
just in terms of
probably running behind a better offensive line too, though.
I think Jalen Milroe is the number 2 guy. Obviously coming out with a huge win over Georgia. The all-around athleticism, along with his ability and development as a thrower so far this year, he's been the second best player in the country, arguably the best player in the country. I got Travis Hunter at 3. I still think Travis Hunter's a really good football player. He's able to get it done on both sides, which obviously helps his stock. And if Colorado, I think it's not necessarily that Travis Hunter is a bad player. I think I don't know if Colorado's really going to be relevant by week 10, week 11. Like, Colorado's going to at least have to win 8 games for even Travis to make it to New York, in my opinion. So
that's fair. I think Hunter's there. I think he's already I guess I'm not going to say that because the last time I said that, they got injured and then didn't go to New York. Never mind. But I think he's going to be in New York no matter what. I think you're right though. If they're out of not out of bowl contention, but if they're out of postseason relevancy, it's going to be tough to win.
Yeah. Cam Ward at 4. He had a little bit of a rough shakeup, still able to get it done against Virginia Tech. He's been dominant so far all this season, and if he can clean it up and continue that dominance, I mean, man, he's sky's the limit for Cam Ward.
The good thing
and then number 5,
that's a full season award, not a one-game award.
And then, and speaking of that, number 5, Miller Moss, man. I thought he's actually looked pretty good so far this year. He's looked good numbers wise. He's looked good if you actually watch the USC games, which most Heisman voters don't.
A lot of them are in LA though. Maybe they watch.
Yeah.
Once in a while.
Like he'll definitely dominate the West Coast votes probably, unless GT. Like, I think GT wins it if he seriously runs for like 2,500 yards and 25 touchdowns, which is looking actually reachable so far through these first 4 games. So
crazy that's a thing we can talk about.
Yeah, but I think that Miller Moss so far has been looked pretty impressive, and he arguably looks better than Caleb Williams in that system. So far,
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I-
Williams. Well, Williams' is senior year, his junior year. Williams' sophomore year. That kid was a difference maker. So
I think he was ghost walking his senior year. He just didn't care. He was there for money.
Yeah.
He was making more money than he does as a first round pick.
I mean, he was a first round pick. He already had
was
the
there for
number
his
one
bag.
overall pick. Yeah, he was the number one overall pick. So I mean,
I think I really liked your Miller Moss pick though. You sent that, and I was like, oh, I have to change my list. But then I just couldn't. I couldn't decide.
Yeah.
I thought I was crazy impressed. I hadn't watched a ton of USC until they played Michigan. I was impressed there.
I watched them play
them, but
LSU.
Watched. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just analyzing Miller Moss, he's not. The only problem is he's not a dual threat quarterback, so it's going to be tough for him. He's got to really put up the passing numbers, but
he might have the best touch in football this year, though.
I mean, if Carson Beck was playing better, I'd say him. But yeah,
I think just the first touchdown throw he had against Wisconsin this weekend, you can't throw that ball any better.
Yeah.
That was.
I think also if I thought LSU was going to be in contention for like any postseason relevancy, I'd put Nussmeier up there. But
fair. I just think my only dig on Moss is against lesser competition. He gets a little too cocky. That's what resulted in his what do you have, 1 or 2 picks over the weekend? I can't remember exactly.
I think he only had 1.
I think his 1 pick came. He tried to just teardrop another ball in on a go sideline. He didn't watch off the safety like he did the first time. He got a little too cocky, a little confident. If he can clean that up, sky's the limit for that kid. Why am I saying kid? Me.
Well, I don't know.
Is he a junior this year? The same age as me.
Yeah, he's probably right. Yeah, probably around the same age as you. Let's end the show off with talking about the AP Top 25. We'll go from 25 to 20 and then 19 through 15, et cetera, et cetera. Actually, 2 teams at 25, both with 122 points in the AP poll. UNLV and Texas A&M both at 25, 24 Illinois, 23 Indiana, 22 Louisville, 21 Boise State, 20 Kansas. I think Louisville did deserve to be dropped. They haven't looked amazing, although I do have a lot of confidence in their team. They got to clean it up in terms of the turnovers and making mistakes. I like Boise State inside the top 25. Illinois still deserves to be there. Glad Indiana's there. And then talk about UNLV, man. I really like this team so far. They might be my third team in college football. I might have to go order something off whatever site. I might have to buy a Haj Malik Williams jersey. That's what I might do.
I really like them too. They've been
shout out Ricky White, dude. Shout out Ricky White, former LSU guy. He's actually been playing pretty well for UNLV.
I'm still so mad he left.
Yeah, I mean,
oh, well. Who cares? It was 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Shit. But yeah, UNLV is crazy. Like I mean, you never hear about them. You hear about them in basketball once in a while, but the fact that they've
we've heard about them the past week just because of the whole situation there. But
silently put together a really good squad, and they've been fun to watch. They've been probably must-see TV for all season, and it's like, and then especially after last week with the NIL dropouts, that they didn't really miss a beat. They just kept rolling.
No, and they were able to get a huge win over Fresno State. They take on Syracuse. That'll be a fun game.
That's our pod team. We love Cuse.
We do love Cuse.
I do want to say I think it's as a Indiana homer, it's a little disrespectful that you've got a 5-0 team out of the top 20. I'll not stand for this disrespect.
They haven't beaten anybody, to be fair. I mean,
Maryland's not bad, and they went across country and absolutely kicked the shit out of UCLA.
Okay, but I don't know. They actually
also in first in the Big Ten right now.
They haven't.
Oh.
Yeah. They don't. I mean, we'll see against Nebraska. how they play. That'll be probably the first legit Big Ten team they play. Wow.
Yeah, the
Okay.
rest of them, I
Yeah.
think.
And then Kansas State at 20, I think, is properly rated. Maybe they could be a little bit higher towards the end of the season, but like for now, I'm fine with them being there.
So apologies to Michigan fans. You guys are also the Big Ten right now. My fault. It's better.
Yeah. 19 through 15, Oklahoma, Utah, BYU, Iowa State, and Clemson. Honestly, I think Clemson and Iowa State are a little bit too low. I know Clemson looked really bad week one, but they've been able to put it together and come up with really solid wins. Iowa State, no, they don't look pretty offensively, but Matt Campbell and his squad, man, they're just able to,
They get it done.
Iowa scored the most points on Iowa State so far this year.
That's saying something, man.
But I mean, Iowa State's, they don't play anyone until the end of the year. They're only going to go up just by being undefeated. Right. I don't know how long BYU's Cinderella run in the top 25 is going to last. I think they've gotten kind of lucky and have some hot points in games. But hey, man, if you can get it done that way, you just win football games.
Saying Cam Ward, not Cam
Ward.
Ward.
You mean
Sorry,
Cam Rising.
God, I suck at names, dude. Cam Rising.
Well, if Utah had Cam Ward, we'd be talking about a national championship contending team.
Dude, that's Rising. Always, if he's not injured, he's like a top 5 QB in my opinion. But
Cam Rising is a top 5 QB.
Not 10 in the country, top 10 probably.
I'd say like top 20. Yeah, I'd say like top 50.
It's so tough.
We'll do a midseason quarterbacks rankings list, and then we'll see where he would probably fall in. Okay. Yeah, I mean Utah, it was a bad loss versus Arizona. They're properly rated. Oklahoma's not going to be in the top. Oklahoma's not going to be in the top 25 in a couple of weeks. So I don't really care where they fall right now.
As soon as I start picking this team, they're about to fall. It's so upsetting.
Who?
Oklahoma. I've been shitting season. I'm starting to actually open up to them, and now they're just going to drop out of the top 25.
Yeah. I mean, I did say they're a dark horse to win the SEC, and I look like
they just got to pull it out of their ass.
They need an offensive line and some healthy weapons on the outside. But you know what?
That's kind of a tall ask.
Yeah.
Right.
Notre Dame at 14, LSU at 13, Ole Miss at 12, 11 USC, and 10 Michigan. Michigan at number 10 team in the country, maybe. I think LSU is too high. I'm not a fan of it. I think Notre Dame could also be higher. It's so weird because I think like 1 through 16, other than like Michigan and LSU and maybe Ole Miss now, I think you can range them anywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe outside of the top, but like 6 through 15.
Yeah, 6 through 15 is a good. Yeah.
Like there's so like little difference between each team. So we'll see. I'm glad USC's staying high. I'm glad Michigan's still like ranked. Like Michigan's looked solid. I know you had a tough game against Minnesota, but like I still believe they're a good football team.
Oh, they're definitely still a good football team. I just think they kind of got a little too rewarded for that. I would switch USC and Michigan. That's just me personally. But
the head-to-head though, like you're not gonna.
Yeah,
the AP, the college football playoff committee would do that. AP is not going to do that. Not at least this early in the season.
That's fair. All right, on to the next.
Yeah, 9 through 5, Missouri, Miami, Penn State, Oregon, Georgia. You'll see. Well, actually, wait. Oh, Texas A&M's favorite. Damn it. I was going to make that my upset pick of the week, but can't do that. That says something about Missouri. I really don't think they're a top 10 team in the country this year, but they'll be able to show what type of team they are against Texas A&M. I think Miami, you got to drop them a little bit for not being able to compete or competing with Virginia Tech a little bit too closely. Virginia Tech's not that good of a team. You should be able to bounce back. Penn State, I think 7's a good spot. I think Penn State and Oregon are kind of just interchangeable. Like they kind of look like the same team, except one team's really good at throwing it, one team's really good at running it. And then Georgia at 5. Yeah. I mean, you got to drop them outside the top 4, but I mean, they're still a damn good football team, and they almost came back from an insane deficit. So,
yeah, they are. I mean, I could almost understand if. No, I can't even understand that. This is the AP. I'm forgetting about that. I would say if this was the college football committee, Georgia probably goes to 2. And
no, they're not.
They go to 3.
Nah, I think the team's inside. I think they could go to 4. They would not be in the top 3.
Really? Because I mean, OSU rolled, but they struggled a little bit, and the committee watches the games.
Well, but there's also Kentucky too that Georgia struggled against.
That's fair. Yeah. You gotta look at the whole body of work. It's not just the one game. But yeah, I think the top 5 is just that's probably the accurate way to put it.
Yeah, and then to round it out, Tennessee at 4, Ohio State at 3, Texas at 2, Bama at 1. Obviously, you're going to move Bama to 1 after the big win. Are they the best team in the country? I don't know. I think it's a top 3. But dude, Tennessee, man, they got a big game versus Arkansas this week.
I do love seeing Rocky Top in the top 5. I'll be honest with you. Yes. There's something nice about that.
There is something nice. I love Tennessee. I got family that lives in Tennessee. So, yeah, I love seeing them succeed.
It's on the bucket list to go see a game there.
Yeah. Ohio State's got a tough test this week in Iowa. I'm interested to see if they're going to open up their playbook or keep it very bland and boring. Texas, they got this week off, so no need mentioning them. They did start really slow versus Mississippi State, but I think they just kind of wanted to get out of there. And then, oh shoot, Bama's playing Vandy. I will be tuned in to that game.
That's your boys.
Diego Pavia. Will it be my upset pick of the week? Find out in the net. No. Okay.
I got my upset pick of the week though.
Whoa.
I'm already locked in because this line is stupid. The fact that this team isn't favored.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you know what game I'm talking about, but it's crazy that they're favored.
I haven't really looked at the next week in terms of the betting market, but be sure to tune in to our preview episode tomorrow around, well, it'll probably become on Friday unless you stay up till like 2 o'clock in the morning. Maybe we'll live stream. Hopefully we'll have some better internet connection. We had some trouble trying to live stream this episode, so we had to go the recording route. But if you're still listening, like, subscribe, and share if you made through 80 minutes, me and Andrew talking back and forth about just nothing but football. But make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Share it with whoever. And make sure to follow us on our social medias too, at 4th and Goal Pod on TikTok, X, and Twitter.
Yes. Check us out. Let us know what you want to see. We always will accommodate for what the viewers want.
I said X and Twitter in this.
I mean, a lot of people just say Twitter X.
Yeah, Twitter X, whatever. Instagram as well. Andrew, once again, does a really good job of controlling the social media. And we will see you tomorrow. Hopefully Justin gets those child support payments payments paid. Wow.
Make sure those checks don't bounce.
Yeah, they probably won't, knowing him. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.